Now, if you spend a bit of time abroad with someone who's got a lovely regional accent, not unusual to find yourself picking up on the old local word or phrase. Isn't that right, Babs?
Yes, Babs. It certainly is. But imagine waking up one day to find yourself speaking in a completely different accent than your own.
That is exactly what's happened to 58-year-old Althia Bryden from North London. After suffering a stroke last year, Althia was shocked to discover she'd just suddenly started in talking in a full-blown Italian accent.
And what's even more shocking, not only does Althia not speak a word of Italian, she's never even been to Italy.
She joined us now alongside her husband, Winston. Hi, guys.
Good morning to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So, Althia, tell us a little bit about what happened. You sadly suffered a stroke, right?
Yes, that is right. I don't remember the stroke so much. Winston will have to tell you about this. You know, I have no memory of it, really, but I can tell you afterwards. Let him tell you the beginning. I will tell you the end.
OK, so, Winston, you went downstairs, right? Like, at night, you went downstairs for a drink, you came back and...
Well, I was downstairs for about 10 minutes or so. And by the time I came back up, I realised that something wasn't right because she was kind of slumped in the bed because I left her sitting up, but where she was position-wise, she was like...
You just knew something wasn't right.
Yeah. So I started asking her, can you hear me? No response. And then I asked her, do you know where you are? Still no response. No. So from that point, I knew something was wrong.
How frightening.
Yeah.
Very frightening.
So you got her to hospital and then they let you know that she's had a stroke.
Yeah.
And then what happened from there?
She couldn't speak, so she was unable to respond. So they did some tests, came back and said that she needs to be treated straight away.
Which was surgery, wasn't it?
Well, the surgery came after, but they said that she needs to have this treatment so therefore they can stop the bleeding on the brain. So while she was there, I think they kind of done it as quickly as possible because they're saying the sooner she gets the treatment, the better.
Althia, let's bring you in. When do you... What do you remember? What's your first memory after having the stroke?
I just remember to wake up into a ward, but I didn't know why I was there, you know.
Yeah.
Winston telling me, my family telling me I have a stroke. I wasn't really sure where I was at the time as well, you know. I didn't realise that I'd been taken from my house, from my bed, none of this, you know. A big surprise.
And can you talk at this time or not?
No, I'm not speaking at this time.
That must be terrifying.
It is
to hear all this stuff and not be able to say a word.
So now I'm just pointing to things all the time. And I've been,
you obviously can understand everything. And
yes, but nothing can come from my mouth. You know, I'm just like this. But you ask about the speech. Now, it was August. The 1st of August, you know, I have a surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this scar. Can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
OK, so there was something growing in my neck.
Is it a carotid web?
Carotid web, that is it, yes. So they tell me it was stopping the blood flow to the brain.
Yeah.
And so this is the reason for my stroke.
Yeah.
So they remove it on the 1st of August. And then for 2 days, I'm into intensive care because my blood pressure was very low. And the next day, you know, they moved me to a ward. The nurse comes to wake me to do blood pressure again, you know, because I worry about it.
Yeah.
So I hear this voice. I've not heard my voice for a long time, you know. I'm like this. Who is it? You know, I didn't realise it was me.
So you're speaking and you think it's somebody else talking?
I look behind me in my hospital bed. Who is speaking to me? You know, why is this? It was a big shock for me.
Oh, my goodness.
So I said, maybe, you know, because you frightened me from my sleep. You know, in hospital, they wake you so early in the morning to do all of these things.
Yeah.
Break your sleep. Good sleep, but...
Maybe I'm dreaming.
Yes, that is it. And then later on, I go back to sleep. They wake me again to do medication. OK, and to ask me, what do I want to eat? And again, I hear this voice. Now I know it's me, you know. And they say to me, you're speaking. Everybody is so happy about this. But I say, why am I speaking like this? You know, this doesn't make no sense to me. You know, I'm very happy, but it was too much. What is happening?
I can't imagine how shocking that would be for yourself. But also, Winston, when you arrived, what did you think? Because obviously she's not spoken for a while.
When I came to the ward and I was walking in, I looked at her and I said, hi, darling. And then she said, hi, babes. But the way how she said it, I was like...
Yeah.
I actually
You take a step back from me.
Yeah.
And thought myself, what's going on? Then I said, are you OK? And she spoke again and I was like...
Must have been so weird.
It's like somebody's taken over.
Yeah.
It's like another character.
It's so strange because, like, on one hand, you just must be grateful, right?
Yes.
You're back, you can talk.
Yeah. Right.
What's wrong with you is, like, you know, they've got
has
rid
been
of it,
removed,
right?
Yes.
But now you just want your normal accent back, right?
Yes, I live my life is like contradiction. You know, I'm happy to speak. When I couldn't speak before, I was very sad, very distressed as well. You know, very stressful for this to be happening to me. But now I can speak. I'm looking for my old sound, but it's nowhere to be found. So for me, you know, I feel like a stranger in my own body. You know, and nobody can tell me what is happening to me. I keep saying to everybody, what is happening to me? Why do I speak like this? Nobody can tell me what
I want to know what
got the gesticulations.
I don't know why this is that, but I have no clue.
Also,
Why is
as
it?
accents go, look, it could be worse. I mean, it's a
I
nice
know,
accent to have,
that
right?
is true, but still, you know...
No, I get it. You want your own accent.
Yeah.
I want to know what you sounded like before. Can we have a look? Have you sent us a video?
Yes, I do. I sent...
Let's have a look.
Okay.
Good evening, good night, good morning, whatever time of day it is. Hope everybody's okay. Pauline, ooh, this is my girl, man. I'm the young one, just saying.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes. So I miss this, you know.
Of course you do.
But I will say to you, more recently now, I have to realize it is a blessing. Because, you know, I think about the fact I couldn't speak before, but now I'm like this, you know, and I don't want to be ungrateful for my blessing.
Yeah.
You know,
you know, I like the sound of it, actually.
It's lovely.
It sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, my
great.
goodness.
We want to bring in Nick. This is Nick Miller, Professor Nick Miller, is a retired emeritus, is that right? Professor in neuroscience at the University of Newcastle. You're an expert in this. Nick, so good to have you. Thanks for joining us. Can you explain what foreign accent syndrome is and how it works?
Yeah, well, you've already got the essence of it, that it's the label given to the instances where somebody has a stroke or some other neurological disorder, and they suddenly start sounding as if they're speaking with a foreign accent of a language they've never spoken before, never been to that country, never associated with anybody with that language. And in cases of stroke or other neurological disorders, what's happening there is that if it's affected parts of the brain that control your speech, your tongue and your lips and your vocal cords and everything, that affects the strength of movements, the speed of movements, the range of movements of your tongue and the lips, and that in turn alters the way your speech sounds. So subtle changes to particular sounds or the rhythm of speech. So for instance, somebody might say they're using a pin to write with, and they use a pen to fry their sausage and eggs in. And so talking of pin and pen, the listener might think, oh, that sounds a bit like New Zealand accent to me, or the person has problems because of the stroke with K sounds and B sounds, and they're saying, instead of cat, they're saying hat, instead of big, they're saying big. And so they say big cat, and you think, oh, that sounds Eastern European or something to me rather than English. Or another way that speech might alter after stroke is that you start adding extra sounds in, or the rhythm of your speech changes. So instead of saying stamp, you say stamp. Or instead of saying a big building, you say big building. And maybe that's a bit... you're thinking, but that's a bit how Althia might speak. She's adding the extra sounds in, and the rhythm of a speech is sounding. And so listeners think, that sounds Italian, how an Italian learner of English would sound to me. But in actual fact, if you analyze the speech sounds, then it's the same as all speakers after stroke who have got differences to their speech are making these differences. It's just that in the ear of certain listeners, because they home in on particular changes which they associate more with the foreign accent than with sounding as if somebody's got a neurological disorder. So that's one big cause of somebody suddenly talking with what sounds like a foreign accent. And it's the important thing being it's as much in the ear of the listener as it is in the mouth of the speaker. But sometimes people would start to talk with a foreign accent due to a functional neurological disorder, a functional movement disorder. And what's going on there is that the symptoms, the way the speech sounds, it sounds as if you've had a stroke or something, but when you do all the tests, they all come back negative. You've not had a stroke, you've not got a brain tumour or whatever. And the kind of understanding there of what's happening is that it's an interaction between the psychological and biological factors. So, and we've all experienced this. So it's where a response to a particular situation causes particular biological reactions in us. So stomach ache and feeling sick before some important exams, splitting headache when you come home after a stressful day at work, or
Nick, honestly, it's absolutely fascinating. We have run out a little bit of time. Hopefully there is. Is there a cure? Can we just have a simple answer with regards to a cure? Is there a cure?
Yeah, the prognosis is good. Either direct treatment addressing how to produce particular sounds that are making you sound foreign, or especially in the case of functional neurological disorders, functional foreign accent syndrome, more likely a talking therapy like cognitive behaviour therapy, where you're taking back control over your symptoms, control over how you speak and whatever.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Thank you for joining us.
Amazing.
And Althia and Winston, thank you for joining us. It's an absolute fascinating story. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.